So before we start the next AP question, I want to refer you to the Create Survival Guide. And it talks about algorithms. Algorithms are precise sequences of instruction for processes that can be executed by a computer and are implemented using programming. They make use of sequencing, selection, or iteration, and that is something that you've been hearing about. People write programs to execute algorithms. Your algorithm must include two or more algorithms that work in combination to achieve some desired results, and it must include math and or logical concepts. So basically what they're saying is that you have to have one large function that we're going to call the parent. And inside of that function, you will have to use math and logic, and then you should call two child functions as well. So algorithms are chunks of code that accomplish a task. To make sure your algorithm is a little more complex and that you are demonstrating your programming abilities, the College Board has some specific requirements. First of all, it has to be something you wrote, has to use math or logical concepts. Math concepts means code where your app does some sort of math computation. These are typically used when your program is making a calculation. The logical concept means code when you use logic or comparison operators. These are typically used in combination with an if statement where your program is making a decision. Now, here's where I was talking about parent and children. Your selected algorithm must have two included algorithms that work in combination to achieve some result. The best way to think about this is that you have a parent algorithm that requires two or more components that can stand on their own as independent child algorithms or functions. You should not submit three separate algorithms. Instead, you should find one large task in your program that can actually be divided into two or more subtasks. For example, a large task might be making a user login screen. Subtasks are checking their login information and two, updating the screen appropriately. The code to accomplish each subtask are the included child algorithms that work independently to solve each subtask, but are combined to work together as the selected parent algorithm to solve the overall task. Now, when you're talking about your algorithm, it is recommended that you place your selected algorithm and included algorithms in separate functions. This will make it easier for you to talk about your algorithm in your response. So basically, again, a parent algorithm and then two other children algorithms or functions. So in total, three functions, one main one and two sub ones that are used inside the main one. You may also, however, simply place rectangles around them and then use line numbers to identify your algorithms. Now, let's go ahead and circle back to our lesson. We're going to go back to lesson 9. Bubble 16. You will hear me repeat this idea of a parent-child algorithm multiple times as we continue to go through this unit. All right, so here we go. Okay, so the subtask we're working on is to see, selecting, and describing an algorithm. Now, in terms of the rubric, row 5, the selected code segment implements an algorithm that uses math or logical concepts and explains how the selected algorithm functions and describes what the selected algorithm does in relation to the overall purpose of the program. So here we have a written response. My algorithm controls the login for the app. This piece of my program is important because the data included in my app needs to be secure. The algorithm makes sure only users with the correct passwords get in the app to use it. Now remember, there are 3 things that this written response must have in order to award the point. So why would you not award the point for row 5 based on the criteria given above? So at this point, you should stop the video, answer the question, and then check your answer. Compare the written response to the circled program code. Okay, stop the video. Now, for a solution, this response would likely not receive the point. Note that the prompt asks for 3 separate things, but this response only addresses the first and the third. We never really learn how the algorithm functions. This response does not describe how the algorithm works, only what it does. This is a common misconception when writing responses. Students on the Create Performance task will need to specifically describe how the code that they wrote works. It is a good idea to reference specific lines of code, for example, to ensure you are actually talking about how the algorithm works. This response would likely not get other rows related to writing an algorithm. The requirement to clearly have subparts of the algorithm and also describe them. This question is designed to address the key misconceptions noted above. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to stop this video and make the last video for the lesson 10.